The following program is intended for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
The absolute worst!
I have a pop culture question before we start with the sports.
Okay.
Are either of you watching Watchmen on HBO?
I'm behind.
I want to, but I haven't really gotten around to it yet. I'll catch up on it, I'm sure.
See, I'm a huge fan of the book and really of the movie. The movie got derided by a lot of people, but I thought it was
solid. I don't think it was great, but it was good enough.
The movie is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that the squid was kind of not great, and this is better. So
yeah, no, and it does a good job being faithfully accurate to what the book kind of shows. It's hard to fit all that the book is into 3 hours. So I was definitely looking forward to the show. I was a little wary hearing about that it was not just retelling the book that they were going to do in the future, and it's like, okay, well, I guess that's one way to do it without infringing on the book or the movie. And
specifically, it's a sequel to the book, not the movie. Like the squid happened in the show.
But the show does tons of throwbacks to the book and nods and Easter eggs all over the place.
Well, yeah, I would think it'd have to.
Like the Silk Spectre 2 is in the new series. She's much, much older, obviously. She's in it. They make a reference to the Minutemen. It's really weird, but it's like the best kind of weird, and it's really, really good. I started watching it on HBO On Demand, like on Friday.
I love how Robert Redford is apparently the president.
Been president for 19 years, yeah. But
right, because Nixon abolished term limits, right?
Yeah. But it's excellent. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it.
I mean, not to get too political, but I look at the current situation and I was like, Robert Redford is president,
It couldn't be any worse, right?
I'm not inherently against it.
Yeah. I wanted to start it because, again, I was looking forward to it, but, man, there is so much content going on right now.
Yeah. That's my big thing. Like I'm kind of all in on the Mandalorian and For All Mankind at this point, and it's like I want to I'll hug the puppy that is Watchmen later.
Right.
It's really good. The characters are very well done, and like I said, it does not ignore the canon of the actual graphic novels. It's part of that. Anyway, I just want to see if you guys have been watching that. I have not watched the most recent episode of The Mandalorian because I was in my Watchmen binge at that point. I want to get there. So don't spoil the fourth episode, I guess it would be, or the fifth?
Fourth episode.
Yeah,
it's actually a little bit longer than the other ones. I think it's 40 minutes, yeah.
What I've seen so far, I really enjoy. I know a lot of people like it slow, and it's this and that. I
like the whole man with no name thing that they're kind of doing. I dig it. It's
technically he does have a name that's been released.
Yeah, it's just that the actor just gave it away in an interview, so it's obviously not going to be a major spoiler.
Oh, what's his name?
The guy's official name is Din, D-Y-N, Djarin, J-A-R-R-E-N.
That's not a great name for him.
It's a Star Wars name.
I know, but they come with something a little tougher than that.
It could also be someone's name in Finland.
Right.
It's but they don't call him that at any point yet, so it's kind of.
I like Mando. I think that's a good name for him, Mando.
That's a problematic racist name.
Oh, okay. Right.
There's multiple Mandalorians, so if they're all in a room and you just go Mando, and then everyone's gonna be like, what?
Yeah, but as we saw in episode 3, they're only allowed out one at a time, and when they came out at the end. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen episode 3 yet, by the way. But
I did love that bit, though, where and this really isn't a spoiler, where like some people approach him and he's like, "How do you know I'm a mercenary?" And like, "Well, you're a Mandalorian, aren't you?" It's like, well, first of all, stereotypes hurt. All right, so
Please tell me Star Wars isn't getting that PC. Come on.
No, that's not a thing.
Thank God.
no.
Well, yeah,
No,
I really like it.
remember...
It's it moves a little slow at times. I'll be the first to admit that. But you're either in or you're out. And if you need it to like speed up, then you're not in. And I think
the episodes are short. Like it's not like it's dragging you out for an hour. It's
well, that and I do think it's doing the Breaking Bad slow burn. Maybe not as well as Breaking Bad did it, but I think that's the idea here. I think that once you get once we crack the code or whatever, and it all comes pouring out, we're going to be like, oh my God, I think it's going to be one of those deals.
I think I kind of dig what they're going for right now, because I mean it is very much, and it's very like unapologetically just a space western.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And again, like as someone who like I kind of have a soft spot for those Clint Eastwood spaghetti western movies. I kind of dig the whole like stranger on the frontier kind of thing. It's a good vibe for it, and like we've talked about it before, but it really kind of allows for a lot of like exploration of like the bits of Star Wars that we don't usually get to see.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think what they're doing is kind of like what you're alluding to, Greg, where yes, they're spreading out the universe, and I think they're sowing a lot of seeds, leaving things around so that in 2 or 3 episodes, like whether it's the penultimate episode or the season finale, everything will kind of come back. And you'll be able to like really kind of explode on the show, like at the end, leading into season 2, which they're already filming. So
yeah, that's what I mean. I think you're going to get a slow burn followed by a oh my God couple of episodes. I think that's what's going to happen.
They're laying a lot of foundation to really kind of lay this thing up, and the foundations are great. I just enjoy being in the world they're setting up. It's not annoying to watch this every week.
Watchmen.
I really do look forward to it.
Watchmen did kind of the same thing in the first like 5 episodes, where they laid the groundwork and did it really, really well. And then as things started happening, you're going, "Oh my God!" You can see that coming back, and like just be patient. It's a good show. Just hang with it. Is what I'm saying.
And I mean, I know this isn't an amazingly hot take or anything, but like Baby Yoda's the best.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda memes are the best thing to hit the internet in ages. Actually, it's funny. Did you guys see that story about Baby Yoda and the Democratic candidates?
No, what?
Apparently, the Baby Yoda fervor on the internet is so large, and kind of ever present that the Democratic candidates are having trouble getting their message out into the world. Because
that's locking up everyone's feeds.
No, dude, that's got nothing to do with Baby Yoda. That's got everything to do with the fact that everybody in that fucking field except Tulsi Gabbard's an idiot. That's the problem.
Yeah, but there's all that, but it's kind of legitimate, because it's like if you open up your Instagram, let's say, and you're just scrolling through, it's like Baby Yoda meme, Baby Yoda meme, Baby Yoda meme, political post, Baby Yoda meme, Baby Yoda meme, Baby Yoda meme. You're in, like, people are just they're scrolling the internet for Baby Yoda stuff. They're not necessarily interacting with their political posts as much as maybe somebody should be in the with a year out from our election.
Oh,
that's true, but at the same time, Baby Yoda's adorable, and I love him.
and right now, as of today, at least today. Now this may change tomorrow, but as of today, Baby Yoda has said more relevant stuff at this point than any of those 25 other people have said in the last year. And he hasn't said a word yet, as far as I know. And I may have said something in the 4th episode. I don't know yet, but
all noises. No,
okay, then right now he's the front runner as far as I'm concerned.
Baby Yoda rap memes are my new jam.
Yeah. I mean, it happens at the very beginning of the next episode, Greg, but the new Baby Yoda meme that has come out of – well, there's 2 Baby Yoda memes that have come out of the next episode. They're the best things on the internet in quite some time.
Soup.
I will watch the episode tonight after we're done, and then I'll go check out the memes after that. But I think the show's – well, I've only seen the first 3 episodes, and I thought they were great. I loved it. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Some people are a little down on the 4th episode compared to the other ones, but I think it's still just as good.
Well, you know, a lot of people are down on the whole.
I loved the new episode because it's basically the Magnificent Seven in space, and that's not a bad thing. I love the Magnificent Seven.
Like, Greg, have you ever heard of Seven Samurai?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Apparently, people are saying that's just what this episode.
That is what it is, but that's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Like, you know what? If you can't, like, are you not allowed to do cover songs now? Is that how it works? You know, come on.
I mean, let's be honest. Star Wars has always borrowed from samurai and Western.
Yeah,
Mike, as you know, it's poetry. It rhymes.
Exactly right. It rhymes.
I just get, I've seen a lot of people reviewing The Mandalorian and really kind of bashing it. It's like, I don't know what you expected. It wasn't going to be Star Wars because they've got 8 episodes to fill, not 2 hours. You know, it's just, it's going to be slower. It's not meant to be a continuation of the Empire versus the Rebels. I mean, come on.
No. Some people are just concerned that, and this is like one of those dividing lines of sci-fi fandom that's gone on forever, as you know, but they're concerned that maybe this episode leans a little more next generation than it does Star Wars.
Whatever. I like it.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I like it. I like it just fine. I don't want it to be constant action. I don't want it to, it's fine. To me, it's like he's living in like what would essentially be the that planet or that galaxy's version of Reconstruction era South. It's right after the Civil War, and things aren't great. So I don't know. Whatever. People, nobody likes anything anymore. So I say the hell with all of them. I like it. I'll fight you over it if you want me to.
I just think Baby Yoda sipping soup is the best thing. It's adorable.
I got a kick when he took the knob off the gear shift in the last episode.
Well, what Zach was getting at is that at the start of the 4th episode, there's like a sequence where the Mandalorian is piloting his ship and Baby Yoda is sitting next to him,
just causing havoc.
And Baby Yoda is just like flipping all the switches in his cockpit.
Cute, adorable havoc. It's great.
And so the internet has taken this, and every time he flips a switch, it cuts to like a rap song, like he's turning on the radio.
Yeah, that's great.
But the third time he does it is adorable, where it's like he's looking at him and he's still reaching.
It's very good.
No, yeah, he's a 50-year-old kid. Come on.
I mean, who knows? I'm going to be curious to see if like they do the Yoda speech pattern, because that's the thing that this has got me thinking of. Is the Yoda speech pattern something he learned, or is that just naturally how his species talks?
I think that's how his language translates into English. Is going to be my guess.
Well, that's the thing. We have no idea.
Yeah, we really don't know. But my guess is
we've only seen one other Yoda ever on screen.
Yeah,
and it didn't talk. So I don't know.
Yeah, so if he does talk, which I mean, Yoda was 800 when we met him, the original Yoda. So this dude's only 50, so that makes him. I don't know how you do you do the math on that, and God Almighty, it'll twist my brain in half trying to figure it out.
Yeah, some people are trying to do the math. It doesn't necessarily work. We have to assume that Yoda puberty is very quick. Yeah,
that's probably for the best. I don't want to think about Yoda puberty.
I don't want to think of Baby Yoda like with raging hormones of a 15-year-old. I don't want to. No, that's not a place I want to go. And while we're talking Star Wars, I'll do a quick promo. We will have sometime between now and the end of the year our third, basically a sports show, Star Wars Holiday Special, all about the new movie, The Rise of Skywalker.
We're either going to be very happy, or it's going to be another one of what happened last time, where it was just arguments.
Did anybody watch the Iron Bowl?
I was busy that day. I didn't get to actually see it, no.
I watched part of it, and it was pretty good. I missed the last part, but I just think we should stop and thank Auburn for knocking Alabama out of the college football playoff.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It does need to be said that, like, all of a sudden this college football season is infinitely more interesting than it was a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Because I think even, in the week leading up to this Auburn game, people were pretty much saying, well, even if Alabama Alabama, they lost LSU. They're not going to make the SEC title game, but as long as they beat Auburn, they're probably still going to make the playoff, and we're all going to complain, and it'll be an all SEC final, and blah, 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 blah. And now we don't have to worry about that.
Nope.
In fact, we'll probably get the rankings here in a few minutes, so we can circle back on that one when they come in. But all of a sudden, the Pac-12 might finally have a way back into the playoff.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're going to have Ohio State. It looks like it's going to be Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, maybe Utah, maybe somebody else.
Could be Oklahoma. Could be Baylor.
Baylor. There's all these possibilities.
If Georgia wins the SEC, I mean what happens there? Because Georgia and LSU face off in the SEC title game, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to knock LSU out, probably. Anyway, the point being that Alabama being out opens it up significantly, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think, like I said, if Alabama had won, people are probably already penciling them in, and it's going to be kind of a fait accompli when the rankings come out. But now there's all these open spots, and the conference title games have a lot of intrigue all of a sudden.
Well, not only that, but it is virtually, well, no, it's not virtually. It is impossible for them to get in now because there's no way they're going to skip or jump past a one-loss conference champion to put Alabama with 2 losses into that tournament. There's just no way it's going to happen.
No way. Not with 2 losses.
No.
Not happening.
Not only that, not only did Auburn do the Lord's work.
Yes, they did.
But
War Eagle, baby.
War Eagle, but your Ohio State. It was a good day for Greg. It was a good weekend for our college football teams.
Yeah, my Ohio State Buckeyes.
Ohio State Buckeyes.
I don't even know what to say. I don't. I really don't. I mean, that is 118 points they've put on Michigan in the last 2 games. For those of you scoring at home, that's a 59 point a game average in the last 2 Michigan games. It's almost, when I was watching the game and it was tight in the beginning, I'm like, oh, this might be it. And then all of a sudden, Michigan just does what they do. They fold it up like a cheap tent, and the Buckeyes run roughshod over them. And the next thing I know, is it 49-27, and what's his name? Shea Patterson keeps throwing the ball. I said this out loud. My girlfriend will confirm this. I said, you keep throwing it around, you're going to throw an interception, they're going to end up putting 56 on you. And that's exactly what happened. It was just unbelievable to me.
I don't know how Harbaugh has not been fired as of today.
I do. And I mean, I know I love to make fun of him, and I love to say he's a bad coach, but I don't think he's a bad coach. I think the problem... No, hear me out. The problem with this team, with Michigan, is that you've got Ohio State, who is not always, but currently they are at the Alabama, Clemson, elite level of college football. Michigan is not. Mm-hmm. They're not. Michigan is down there.
Yeah, but they're hiring him to get them there.
I know.
Yeah,
well, he's only had 5 years, which, it took Urban Meyer 3, but whatever.
He's only had 5 years, though. That does not seem like you should start seeing. Like, it seems like they've regressed in those 5 years. Like,
because the other thing with that too is he's supposed to be the quarterback guru, and they're not making quarterbacks.
No, they're not.
They're supposed to be at that elite level, like Mike said. They're supposed to be making quarterbacks because that's what they are, and on top of all that, they're getting trounced by their rival every single damn time.
I think that I think there's only been one game in this series since he took over that was actually close, and that was when the Buckeyes won in overtime like 3 years ago. Other than that, it's been pretty much one-sided every step of the way. Mm-hmm. I think it was a 42-41. No, that was back when, what's his name? That other idiot was coaching him, Brady Hoke. Well, that was the last time the Buckeyes lost, I think. I don't even remember. It's been, that 8 straight. So it was 2011 was the last time the Buckeyes even lost this game. But I was trying to give Harbaugh the benefit of the doubt, but you're right. He's had 5 years to do this.
Yeah, the scores over the last 5 years have been 56-27, 62-39, 31-20, and then, like you said, that overtime game, 30-27, and then Harbaugh's first year was 42-13.
Right, yeah.
Preceded by 42-28, 42-41 back in 2013.
That's the one I was talking about, yeah.
26-21, and then Michigan's win back in 2011.
Yeah.
Michigan hasn't won in Columbus since 2000.
Yeah. So
of the last since 2000, since the year 2000, when Michigan won in Columbus, Michigan has only won 2 of the games since then.
Yeah, it was. I know that was 15 out of the last 16, and I think 17 out of the last 19. The Buckeyes have won.
And it's funny just because, like, you look at the overall record, Michigan leads the entire series 58, 51, and 6, but Ohio State has been flat out dominant for the last 20 years. Maybe
Harbaugh isn't a good coach, but because 5 years into this, it'd be one thing if they were just like, okay, we're at the second level, we can't beat Ohio State, we can beat everybody else. But they're not even beating everybody else.
Well, see, that's my point, is that it seems like in 5 years they've actually regressed, because it used to be that it's like, oh, they beat everyone else, but they had trouble with Ohio State, and they would occasionally have trouble with Michigan State. But now it's like, not only did they lose to Ohio State, like they almost lost to Army earlier in the year. They lost to Minnesota, was it?
Yeah.
Like,
Michigan's getting lapped by Ohio State, by Penn State, by Wisconsin, by Iowa. Like they're falling down the ranks of the
right.
The
like
power rankings of the Big Ten, and they're becoming irrelevant.
Like it seems like they were more relevant at the start of his tenure than they are now. Like they've gotten worse. So it's not so it's really a case of, I'm not entirely sure if this is just like, oh, he's only had 5 years, because like they've been trending downward. It seems like they're not at the same level they were when they hired him.
No, I think Zach's right. You've got other programs. Wisconsin's a better program than Michigan is right now. So I hate to say it, but so is Penn State. And
they're behind Minnesota this year.
Iowa's up and coming. Minnesota, and they've got that guy from Western Michigan that's done a good job. Now, whether he sticks around or not, we'll see. But if he sticks around for a few years, they might turn into a decent program. But Michigan, like you said, Zach, I mean, he's supposed to be the quarterback guru and all this and that, and they just keep bringing in these guys that just aren't very good. And I can't think of the last player that like they did, like a Chase Young or one of the big name players from the Buckeyes or a big name player from Penn State. When's the last time Michigan had a guy like that, where you go, that guy's really good? I can't remember.
Bernard Robinson, and he wasn't even a good thrower.
No, they had a couple guys on defense a few years, maybe 5-6 years ago, but other than that, they're just a bunch of guys that you never hear of again. They had that tight end, Jake Butt was his name. Yeah.
Right.
He was going to be a big pro prospect. I don't even know if he's on an NFL roster. I think he is, but he's not the star they thought he was going to be.
Yeah, he went to the Broncos, I remember, in the draft.
Remember, he was like the next Rob Gronkowski and all that, and it just didn't work out that way. You watch an NFL Sunday, and there's Ohio State guys all over the place out there. There's Alabama guys, and there's Clemson guys, and there aren't Michigan guys, and there's your difference. That's it. And at one point, I forget, I don't know who brought it up. Maybe I read it somewhere. If you fire Jim Harbaugh, though, who do you replace him with that you think is better?
Well, yeah. I mean, Urban Meyer is out there.
Yeah, Urban Meyer. I think he proved on Saturday he's not going to do that.
When
they started booing him, he just pulled up his hand with his big Ohio State championship ring on it, like pointed at the crowd. It was like, no. But I don't know what I would do if he did that. That would be awful. That would be like Han going to the dark side in the forest. It'd be like, wait, this can't happen.
It'd be funny, though.
Yeah, it would be funny, I have to admit.
It would be pretty funny. Geez. I don't know. I mean, college football has a weird coaching landscape right now, because you got to hope that you find somebody.
All of the good young prospects got rated by the NFL looking for the next Sean McVay.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Boy, that tree withered up pretty fast, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
It's basically Michigan should be better than they are.
Yes.
And Jim Harbaugh,
he'll survive this. I don't think they'll fire him.
But like, I'm with Zach. And you know my opinions on Jim Harbaugh. But like, how are you the coach of the Michigan Wolverines and not fired after failing to beat Ohio State 5 years in a row? Like,
and getting dump trucked in and then like hell, like losing, like almost losing to Army, for God's sakes. Like, it seems like
it just seems like it's just completely directionless. Like, it's like, well, like, we got to stick with him because, like,
Well, let's go back.
He's played Michigan 5 times, or played Ohio State 5 times, and only one of them has been in a one-score game.
Yeah, and that was the game that they had a good lead in Ohio State. He choked it away.
Yeah.
But go back even before Harbaugh with this program. I mean, look at some of the losses they've had over the years. Appalachian State, a Division II school, or whatever, whatever they are, or 1AA or whatever, an FBS school now. They lost to Toledo. My Toledo Rockets went to Michigan and beat them. Oh, come on.
Hey, don't discount your Rockets, Greg. Come on.
I know, but
add that to this too. This is a program with history, with tradition, and they went through some dark times. Whether it was Brady Hoke or Rich Rodriguez, I mean, but Brady Hoke at least got them to the Sugar Bowl,
and he beat Ohio State.
Yeah, and so yes, they haven't been good for a while, but that was the point. You bring in Jim Harbaugh with his pedigree, with his Michigan man, that he's supposed
khakis.
He's supposed to revive this program to be able to compete with Ohio State. And if anything, they've only gotten worse.
Yeah.
And yes, they have been ranked, in the last 2 years. 4 out of the 5 years they've been ranked when they play Ohio State. But like we said, if this was a case where they were 10-0 going into the Ohio State game every single year and losing, and they just couldn't get past Ohio State, that's one thing. That's essentially what LSU had for years with Alabama, where they'd have great seasons, lose to Alabama, great season, lose to Alabama.
Right.
But occasionally LSU would still beat Alabama, and they would go on to do, great things, whether it was a national title, whether it's now making the playoff. Michigan hasn't done that. They haven't beaten Ohio State, and so they haven't gotten to the point of doing anything else. They made that one Sugar Bowl when they were still second place to Ohio State.
Well, that's what I mean.
Even year that Ohio State won
the championship. And let's not forget that his record against Michigan State isn't exactly stellar.
No, he beat them this year, but I think he lost the last 3 before that.
He beat them this year. He's beat them one other time, but I think he's 2-3 against them.
Yeah. The stat I found most telling was he was like 29-0 at home against everybody except Ohio State, where he's now 0-3. Just, and he's 0-5 against Ohio State. I think Mike's right. I think he's 2-3 against Michigan State.
He's 3-2 against Michigan State.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, Michigan State won 2 years in a row. I mean, remember that year that they beat him on that block punt, which was awesome. Oh my God, that was so funny. But I think that they are just not. They're a mid-level program, and they've just got to learn to live with it, or.
I don't necessarily think it's like I don't even necessarily think it's a learn to live with it thing, because, like Zach said, this is a team, this is a program that has that does have something of a pedigree. They do. And I think that with all that being said, they can climb out of it. Like, theoretically, they could, because the name Michigan is still going to have a lot of name value to a lot of recruits.
Yeah, Notre Dame still has it, and they haven't really done anything of value either.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Do they really? I mean, I know they. I'm not saying they.
I think they do.
I think they do. Yeah, to an extent, but is it the same? Does it have the same brand name as, like, say, an Ohio State, LSU, Clemson? No.
I think
it would.
Oklahoma.
If you got the right coach. If you got the right coach who had the right ideas necessary to turn the program around, I think you could revitalize Michigan. Because
I don't think you need the right coach to turn the whole thing around. Because here's another example of something that we just saw this weekend with the Auburn-Alabama game.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn fans have wanted to fire Gus Malzahn for like 3 years now. But you know what Gus Malzahn occasionally does?
He beats Alabama.
He beats Alabama occasionally. And for every year that Auburn has like a 6-4 record, they also have wins over Alabama to point to too. So it's if I think if this wasn't Jim Harbaugh, if it wasn't this guy that had a successful career at Michigan as a player and wasn't, an alum and all that, if he was Brady Hoke, if he was Rich Rodriguez, he would have been kicked out the door 2 years ago.
Probably, yeah. I think what they're probably going to do, because this is a fair argument that Ryan Day, the current coach of the Buckeyes, is playing with an Urban Meyer team. I mean, there's really no way around that. Now, I don't know how much, they make it sound like Urban Meyer does all the recruiting by himself, which is not even close to true. But, I think what Michigan may be waiting for is let's see how Ryan Day does compared to Urban, because Urban Meyer, let's face it, one of the top coaches in the history of college football. Right up there with Saban and some of the other big names. Let's see how Ohio State does after, Meyer's been gone a year. Maybe we can catch them that way. But here's another difference, too. Ohio State, what right, wrong, or indifferent, has dumped a ton of money into facilities and into that program. I don't hear about Michigan doing that. Other schools are doing that. I mean, you heard about Oregon with their, putting all the money that Nike puts into it and all that. You've got,
Yep.
What school were they talking about? I was watching the game. They said that their weight room looked, it was, what's it? I forget. They said it looked like you walked into an Apple store with weights. It was like that high tech, and that kind of stuff. And I don't hear Michigan doing that. I mean, they're trying to hang on all the stuff Mike's talking about, the pedigree, the legacy, the tradition, and all that. You got to have more than that now, guys. You've got to have like the facilities. You've got to have all the reasons in the world for somebody to pick you over. Like if it comes down to a simple choice between who's got the better facility, who's got the better training, who's got all that between Ohio State and Michigan, Ohio State's going to win every single time. If that's all it comes down to. Now, I'm sure most times it doesn't come down to just that, but if it does, you're going to lose every single recruit based on that alone. So, I hate to say this about what's supposedly, quote unquote, an amateur sport, but to make money, you got to spend money, fellas. It's as simple as that. Sure. And that means, legitimately and probably illegitimately too. I'm not naive. I know that my Buckeyes aren't like
you wouldn't be suggesting that they're.
I'm saying we're paying our players better. We're paying our players better than they're paying theirs. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Aren't players allowed to benefit from likenesses now? I'm not caught up on that whole thing, but
and I think in California they are. I think I don't remember. But I think it might be.
I heard that it passed in California, and then a bunch of other states started writing up similar laws because nobody wants to fall behind the recruitment race.
I'm just hoping it means we get NCAA football back for video games.
Apparently the NCAA caved to a degree because they saw the writing on the wall.
Well, they caved to a degree that gave them very loose language to still determine what they believe is in line with amateur college athletics.
Yeah,
which is a bullshit term. But
right.
The only amateurs involved in any of this are the players, and that's debatable. It's just a different world now. You can't expect.
I don't know. Michigan's coaching staff seem pretty amateur.
Yeah, I know. God, I really didn't want to come out here and beat up on them because it's like kicking a puppy now. But
no, it's worth it.
But you know what? I mean, screw them. I had to put up with the John Cooper years back in the 90s, so you know what? They showed us no mercy. So you know what? Your program is shit, Michigan. It's as simple as that. You're not as good as we are. You're not going to be for a good long while. And Jim Harbaugh, for the love of God, yes, please give him that lifetime contract that everybody keeps talking about.
Well,
I would love that.
I know that another OSU alum on the boards, Old School Viking.
Yeah.
Was posting like where can I contribute to his contract extension fund?
I mean, even when they look like they're going to play well, I think that's another example though. Like they don't have the horses to hang with Ohio State. They were good with them for a quarter and a half. And then I don't know if they ran out of gas or it was just like Ohio State's talent just took over. But after that, it was just like another blowout. And they're like, well, Michigan doesn't take this game as seriously. Well, maybe they should. Maybe they should take it as seriously as Ohio State. Then you might win one.
There's an awful lot of whining and complaining if they don't take it seriously.
Right. But that's what they were saying. Like, well, Michigan, this isn't the only game of the year that matters to them. It's like, well, maybe it should be. Because I know that when John Cooper was there, he had the same attitude. It's just another game. And we lost 11 of the fucking 12 that he coached there. So, yeah. And then when Tressel came in, first thing he said is, we're going to win up north next year, and they did. And that started this whole chain of events. And like Urban Meyer, same deal. You know, the Michigan game, we prepare for it every week. It's like it's always the number one thing on our agenda. And you see the result of that. And Michigan's like, it's just another game to us. Well, okay, then shut up when you lose every fucking year. Because that's what you're doing right now. It's not even a challenge. As somebody put in the Bass thread on the boards, whole home, another Ohio State blowout over Michigan. I said, yeah, it's like scheduling 2 homecoming opponents a year at this point. Doesn't matter where we play them, that's still a homecoming game. It's not, you can't even call it a rivalry anymore. You really can't, because it's just too one-sided.
Have we moved into Clippers Lakers quote unquote rivalry territory?
More or less.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's Clippers Lakers is still more pathetic.
Well, yeah, but anything with the Clippers has to be.
I just saw the screenshot from the Wikipedia page I sent you guys from the Lakers Wikipedia page, where it's like rivalries, Los Angeles Clippers. Most people say it's not a rivalry until the Clippers win something.
My brother is a big Ohio State fan too, even though he went to Ohio University. But not everybody's perfect. But anyway. He was in Key West, so that's where he lives, but he called, like, every Ohio State Michigan game, after the game's over, we talk on the phone. And he's outside of the bar he was at. There was 400 Buckeyes fans in Key West, Florida, watching this game on Saturday. That gives you an idea how big Buckeye Nation is. But anyway, some guy goes walking by singing Hail to the Victors like he's a smartass. And I go, is that guy really singing Hail to the Victors? He goes, yeah. I said, tell him to have fun in the whatever the fuck bowl they're going to this year. Because that's what it's going to be. It's just, the whole thing is a joke to me now. It's just, I don't know what to even say about it. I didn't want to beat him up, but you know what? Screw him. I'm beating him up.
No, they deserve it sometimes.
But yeah, so, I think the new rankings are out. Is this week 15?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is.
I know they're coming out. Oh yeah, here we go. Top 4, is Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Georgia, as it's been.
And Utah goes to number 5.
Yeah, if this will, yeah. So there you go. That kind of shows you where things are. Utah 5, Oklahoma 6, Baylor 7, Wisconsin 8. So if Utah
Michigan State at 14 after being 13 going into that game, really?
I guess so. Well, because Michigan beat Notre Dame, who they have down there, and then it's just a matter of keeping teams ahead of who. All right,
look at this. Okay, number 17, the Memphis Tigers at Michigan on a neutral field. Who you like in that one?
Still Michigan, probably.
I'm taking Memphis in that. Memphis is good. Boise State, Michigan, neutral site. Who you like in that one?
Michigan.
I don't know, man. No, the poll needs to happen. This really needs to happen. I don't know if it's possible or not. Michigan versus Appalachian State in a bowl game. That would be beautiful.
Boy. Because
look at how far Appalachian State's come. They were an FBS program, 10 years ago? However long it's been? And now they're in the top 25 in the FCS, or the FBS series. Michigan can't get out of its own way, can't stop shooting itself in the foot. Here's Appalachian State, moves up a division, and is in the top 25 now. And it all started because they kicked your ass at the Big House, Michigan. You've got a lot of work to do, and you know what? I can't help you. I'm too busy at the top of everything, laughing at you.
Oh, Greg is merciless. I am
scoffing at you. I'm sorry. I can't hear them. All those Big Ten rings in that national championship ring, I just can't hear. I'm sorry. It's so blinding that it's making me have trouble hearing things, too. The hum of all that glow. Anyway,
so here's I guess
you're going to be insufferable if the Browns ever win a Super Bowl.
Well, we know that's not going to happen in my lifetime, so we don't need to worry about it.
No, God gave Ohio the Browns and Bengals just to keep them level-headed.
Right, exactly. You can have Saturdays, you'll never get Sundays, but you can have Saturdays. We're like, all right.
So assuming these things stay as they are with Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Georgia. So the winner of the SEC title game is in, whether it's LSU or Georgia. Then it's a question of if Utah beats Oregon, who's number 13, is that enough to keep them ahead of whoever wins the Oklahoma Baylor game? Is that enough to not still be behind Georgia?
If Georgia loses to LSU, if Georgia beats LSU, they're both going to get in.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. If LSU beats Georgia, that's going to put either Utah, Oklahoma, or Baylor in that 4th spot, depending on who wins. If it's Oklahoma, Oklahoma goes to 4. If it's Utah, Utah might have a shot at going to 4 if Baylor beats. I don't see Baylor jumping 3 spots. I don't see that happening. But I could see Oklahoma jumping into the 4th spot if they beat Baylor and Georgia loses to LSU.
I guess it's a matter of, do you think the rankings still hold depending on the wins? Like if Utah beats Oregon and Oklahoma beats Baylor, does Utah stay ahead of Oklahoma?
No, Oklahoma will move ahead of Utah.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
I think
it's it
has to be a blowout for Utah, not a blowout, but like a solid win, and maybe like a down to the wire win for Oklahoma.
Didn't they already lose to Oregon once this year? Utah's
one loss was to SC.
Okay, all right, never mind. SC is ranked now.
Utah with their 3rd string quarterback, but weirder things have happened.
The worst case scenario for us right now is Georgia to beat LSU. Assuming, of course, that Ohio State can get past Wisconsin, which nothing's a given at this point, although they did beat them.
Look, now, everyone knows it's
because we're actually playing a real team on this Saturday.
Everyone knows it's the SEC's God-given right to have at least 2 teams in the playoffs.
What does that say about you, Michigan, that I'm more afraid of freaking the Wisconsin Badgers than I am of you? What does that say? That breaks my heart. It really does. But I fear Penn State and Wisconsin more than you. It shouldn't be this way. But I can't help you. You're on your own. Anyway.
I like it. I like the fire.
I want it to be a rivalry again. Did you guys watch all the Thanksgiving games?
I did watch all the Thanksgiving games.
I watched 2. I watched the first 2. I did not watch the Atlanta.
Before we start, I have to say one thing. Mm-hmm. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen.
9-3.
I moved my irrational confidence back in like week 3 from the Titans. Now I'm stuck because both teams deserve my irrational confidence. I guess I could split it and have both, but
so
if I told you before the year that the Buffalo Bills would have a better record than the Kansas City Chiefs, would you believe me?
I figured they'd get to 7-3, and that's where it would fall apart, and they'd be struggling to go 9-7. They've only got to win one more game, and they've got a 10-win season.
Jake Allen has tied Drew Bledsoe for like the winningest Bills quarterback of the century. 9 wins in a season.
You know what, though? I mean,
they have a 2-game lead on the last playoff spot.
Yeah.
With 4 games to play.
Yeah, and I don't remember what their schedule is, but I don't think it's not a real tough one.
And guys, they're only 1 game behind the New England Patriots.
Right, yeah. Well, okay.
Is this the year that we dare to dream?
Don't
about the Buffalo Bills.
Don't even do it. Don't. I know where you're going. I'm not. I'm the last person that's going to go there. You guys go there if you want. But when the Patriots are walking up the field under confetti,
yeah,
I hadn't even thought about that. So here's Buffalo's schedule.
Okay.
They host the Ravens this week.
That's going to be a rough one.
That'll be rough.
In Buffalo, if the weather cooperates, and by that I mean if it snows like it usually does every day starting from October 1st until July 1st, they'll be fine.
I swear to God, if Josh Allen beats Lamar Jackson head-to-head, I don't know what I would do in terms of understanding how the game of football works anymore. Then they're at the Steelers, who are trailing them by 2 games right now in the playoff picture. Then they're at the Patriots, and then home against the Jets.
Wow, so they could actually end up 9-7, or they could end up 9-7 still, 10-6. Those 3 games in the middle there. Those first 3 games are all tough.
Yeah, I mean, lose to the Ravens, lose to the Patriots, and the Steelers is a big game because the Steelers are like I said, just 2 games behind them. Tennessee's 2 games behind, so they have to win those. They have to win at least the Steeler game to make sure that they're for the playoffs.
Yeah, and wow,
if they lose to the Jets in Week 16, then they can really just pack it up and go home. But
you know what? With the Jets being what they are this year, that would not surprise me in the least. Not even a little bit. I would even be a little bit surprised by that because the Jets I think the Cowboys are just not very good, right? And that's got to be it. Because what Buffalo did to them in Dallas I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills have got a good defense. We got to give them that. And I guess Josh Allen's not killing them, but come on. They're not that good. To go down to Dallas and just lay
the Cowboys are going to win their division by default.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope they go. I hope they go.
That's what I was going to say. They're not good, but they're still going to go to the playoffs.
Okay, here's my question.
They're going to get a home game.
Yeah, here's my question with the Cowboys in the NFC East. Do we have a legitimate shot at a 6-10 division champion? That would mean the Cowboys have to lose out the rest of the way, but I just want to know if it's possible.
Let's take a look.
Cowboys schedule.
Are the Cowboys currently at 6 wins?
Yeah.
So the Cowboys are 6-6, and the Eagles are 5-7. So you're not going to, based on, well, the Cowboys are at the Bears.
They could win that. They could win that.
They could also lose it.
Home against the Rams.
They could lose that one.
At the Eagles.
They could lose that one.
Home against the Redskins.
All right, so they're probably going to go 7-9 at worst.
Yeah. Because then you have the Eagles who inexplicably keep losing games that they should win and are
How in
5-7.
the world did that team go into Lambeau Field and manhandle my Green Bay Packers the way they did?
Beats me.
I mean,
the Eagles the rest of the way. Now the Eagles I might have an inside track here because their final 4 games are all divisional games.
Oh.
Giants at home, Redskins on the road, Cowboys at home at the Giants.
Those are they can win all 4 of those.
They still have the 2 Giants games and then the real swing game against the Cowboys and the Redskins.
They can
In
win all 4
theory,
of
they
those.
should win at least 3 of those.
Yeah.
And even if they just win those 3, and even if they still lost to the Cowboys, that would put them at 8-8.
You know, there's just no way that the NFC East is going to be 10-6 or better coming out of this, right? No.
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 No, because the Cowboys are the best of the bunch right now at 6-6, and if they would have to win Bears, Rams, Eagles, Redskins, and in theory they could, but I don't see it happening.
I think everybody's like, "What's wrong with the Cowboys?" Jason Garrett's got to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else? They've got talent down there. It's not like they don't have good players. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think we're overvaluing them a lot.
Probably.
I think it's Ezekiel Elliott is legitimately good.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott is pumped up to a spot that he doesn't deserve to be in because he's Dak Prescott. But
yeah, if Dak Prescott's playing for the Texans instead of the Cowboys, he's nowhere near what we're talking about right now. You know, no, there's just no way.
Nope, I don't think so.
Well, it'll be fun. I think we still got a shot at a below 500 division champ. I don't think we're going to get our 6-10 out of this, but 7-9 certainly on the table.
Hope.
I am too.
Come on.
Yeah, it's possible, but again, no, it's not possible. Well, wait, hold on. Who won the Philly Cowboys game early this year? Cowboys did. So the only way that we would get that is if the Eagles beat the Cowboys, the Cowboys lose out, and the Eagles beat the Cowboys, and that's it.
It's
Dare to dream.
It's possible. It's probably not very probable, but it's possible. But yeah, the funny thing about it too is the rest of the NFC is so freaking stacked, except for that division.
Oh yeah,
which is just a joke.
It'll be hilarious when the 13-3 Vikings or Seahawks go in, or sorry, 49ers or Seahawks go to Dallas,
right,
to open up the playoffs.
How about San Francisco yesterday? They go from the number 1 seed to the 5 seed in one day, just like that. Unbelievable.
Hey, they tangled with Lamar,
Yeah. I didn't get to see any of that because I would have, of course, we were subjected to Brown Steelers here in this market, so we didn't get to see the actual game that was worth watching.
The helmet grudge match.
Yeah. How was that, by the way?
I didn't watch it. I left it. The Browns were tied at 10-10. I said they're going to lose. I'm leaving. And I got in the car.
And they did.
And I went up to Avon, which is a suburb of Cleveland, and went Christmas shopping. To the hell with it. And they did. I even said they're going to lose by 20. They didn't lose by 20, but they did lose. And it's just like, I'm used to this. I know what's what with this team. And I was like, they're not going to win this game.
According to NFL.com, the Browns have not won in Pittsburgh since 2003.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What do you think of Freddie Kitchens wearing the Pittsburgh Started It T-shirt?
Yeah, Freddie Kitchen, the guy.
God.
What an idiot.
I know that nobody thinks
so much time on this idiot.
Yeah, you know what? I want to do a moratorium right now. We'll talk about the T-shirt, but I don't want to talk about the Browns the rest of the season because they don't deserve it.
Okay, let's talk about the T-shirt and the utter complete lack of leadership.
I've got 3 quick things to say about this. First off,
okay,
the T-shirt just shows you that this guy has no idea how to be a head coach in the National Football League. None. Do you think Greg Williams would have worn that shirt? Not in a million years. Number 2, oh God, I forgot what the other 2 were going to be. Number 2, you got to fire him. I don't care. That's it. He's not a good coach. It's time for him to go. And 3, and this just shows you where Browns fans are at. Some idiot, this was a Florida person, by the way, who happened to be a Browns fan, put a Steelers helmet on his rear windshield wiper and had it come down and bang into the head of Mason Rudolph as he stuck a picture of him on his car.
That is both sad and also I applaud the ingenuity.
That's pretty funny.
It's funny.
That takes a lot. That takes like planning. Like you got to know what you're doing.
But you would not believe how many people around here are doing the Pittsburgh Started It. Yes, they did. I have no argument there. Doesn't excuse what happened at the end. It doesn't. That's like if you walk into a bar and bump into me and I shoot you. Well, yeah, technically you started it, but does that mean that it was okay for me to blow your brains out all over the bar? No, it's not. It's as simple as that. I don't know how much plainer you can make it. And yet here we are. Pittsburgh started it. So that makes it okay to try to kill a guy with a football helmet? All right. Whatever.
Look, Browns fans just got very bullish because they won that game, and then reality came back and yeah.
I just think that with a legitimate head coach, it's a completely different season for this team. But they have been an undisciplined mess from day one.
Well, no, they've been an undisciplined mess from day one, and is that a shock when you've got the coach wearing shit like that?
Exactly.
There you go.
Well, and I brought it up last week about the last show about the fights they had when they had that joint practice with Baltimore with Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And how Freddie Kitchens didn't do a whole lot to discourage that. And it's like, dude, this isn't the XFL, okay? But anyway, so screw them. We can officially wipe them out of the playoff picture. They're not in the hunt anymore, or they probably still are, but whatever.
They're still in the graphic.
Well, yeah, that doesn't have as much cachet as it did last year.
Let's.
One last thing on the Browns, really quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to know why you always lose to Pittsburgh? Because Pittsburgh knows how to run a football team. You can say what you want about the Steelers. You can say they get all the calls. You can say their fans are assholes. You can say whatever you want. The one thing you can't say about them is that they're a bad, poorly run organization, because they're not. I mean, look at the consistency they've had since the early 70s. I think they've had like 3 or 4 losing seasons in that entire time. 3 head coaches in that entire time. 6 Super Bowl wins. Yeah, you want to, okay, you want to make fun of them, you want to talk, well, all right, fine, do all you want, but that's the team you should aspire to be. That's who everybody should be chasing, are the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they do it right. I get why there's so many Steeler fans around here, because somebody figured out a long time ago, this is the organization I want to be with. Not me, I was too stupid. But anyway, let's go on, move ahead.
I want to talk about two games together. The Ravens, we mentioned them, they beat the Niners. They're 10-2. The Patriots lose their first game to the Texans since 2009.
Yeah.
They're 10-2. In Vegas, the Baltimore Ravens are the new Super Bowl favorites.
Okay.
Do you agree?
What?
Do you agree?
No. No, I don't. And I'll tell you why.
Okay, sorry.
The Patriots played poorly, but the one thing that everybody talked about but didn't want to attribute it to was that half the team had the freaking flu. Now, I know that it's just the flu and all that, but I'm sorry, but when you put half of your team out there is sicker than a dog, you're not going to play well. Simple as that. So I'm not even worried about it.
Here's my thing. the Patriots last year looked worse at this point in the season than they do this year. And we saw what happened last year. Like last year, that team, the Patriots, looked like they were limping into the playoffs. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what switch Belichick flipped, but they became world beaters. And suddenly that crappy defense started shutting everyone down, and Tom Brady looked like he was 25 again, and the whole goddamn thing, we saw what happened. And so at this point, I'm sorry, no, they're 10-2. It's like, and yes, the Ravens are 10-2, but if the Patriots meet the Ravens in the playoffs, I kind of trust that Bill Belichick is going to have he's going to know how to deal with them after their earlier game.
I'm of two minds about it, right? So first, even though the Patriots did beat the Ravens, in theory, I say, yeah, definitely. The Patriots, when they get to the playoffs, they'll know how to shut down Lamar Jackson and it won't be a thing. However, there's one team over this Patriots run that has gone into New England consistently in the playoffs and not really flinched.
The Baltimore Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens.
And let's not forget, right now, the Ravens hold the home field advantage.
Right.
By virtue of a win over New England.
Right. So even if the playoffs started today, they would end up playing the AFC title game in Baltimore.
Here's the thing. I think are the Patriots. I want to say the Patriots are no longer the favorite. No, because I saw what happened when I did that last year, so I won't do it again. But is there a chance? Is there a better chance this year than there was last year of them not going to the Super Bowl? Yeah, a little bit. If you want to call like going from like a 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 500 better, then sure. We've definitely got better odds now.
The problem that I don't know. Like, I just think it's going to be harder to beat the Patriots twice in 1 year because
Bill
Belichick's like the fucking Borg. Like you might get a shot off at him, but he's going to assimilate.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know. Like, okay. Granted, this was last season. And you can't necessarily carry these things over, but like the San Diego Chargers, fuck me, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Put $1 in the jar, Mike. $1 in the jar.
In the Spanos jar, yeah. The Los Angeles Chargers of Costa Mesa by way of San Diego, played the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs last year, and the Chargers last year managed to shut Lamar Jackson down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, granted, again, that was last season, but still.
Lamar looks like a cheat code this season, too.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if the Chargers can figure it out, then Bill Belichick can.
Yeah, I'll just go a step further. I'm going to bring up again what Brass said on the boards because I think that's going to be one of the biggest points that we're all going to forget when the playoffs come. In that loss to the Ravens, he put forth the idea that Belichick said, you know what, we're not going to win this game. I'm going with basic defense the rest of the night. I'm not showing them anything else. And I don't know if that's what happened or not, but knowing Belichick and knowing that he doesn't care about one loss in October or November, I wouldn't put it past him. So I don't think that the Ravens have seen the full extent of the Patriots' defense yet. And they saw it for a half, but they didn't see all of it. So you never know. If it comes down to coaching, I mean, John Harbaugh is a good football coach. You can't say so much about his brother, but John's...
Maybe Michigan got the wrong Harbaugh.
That's what I think. But, he's good. But let's be honest about it. Belichick is like Emperor Palpatine. He's a master of the dark, the dark arts. The dark arts, exactly. Yeah.
I heard someone on SB Nation's YouTube account, which is actually quite good. I'd recommend it. But they had someone on there was saying that Bill Belichick doesn't wear the reason he wears hoodies and sweatpants. It's like so the dark powers that he harnesses can flow through him more freely.
Did you see Belichick post game? The post game press conference for him. He was a real, like more so than normal jerk. Somebody asked him the question was just, "Hey, Bill, obviously there was a lot of sickness going through the team. Do you think the illness had any effect on the performance today?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I don't know."
Look,
and then the room just sat in silence for another 20 seconds. No one even asked him a question, just staring.
You guys, I will ask you guys this. I remember I got in an argument with a Cleveland radio talk show host one time because he was really ripping this Browns player.
That sounds, by the way, like a conversation that you would have in the depths of hell of a Cleveland sports radio.
It was, but I was driving somewhere and it was a Sunday. There was nothing else on, so I'm listening to him, right? And he was just ripping this Browns player for not playing because he had the flu so bad he couldn't get out of bed. And I called in and I said, dude, I I only played baseball, but I can tell you this. I would rather play on a fucking sprained ankle than try to play with a bad case of the flu. It's just easier. So, I know that people think, well, it's just the flu and these guys are NFL players, but we've all had the flu. I mean, if it's really bad, you can't even stand up. So what do you expect,
No. I once slept for
right
12 straight hours because thanks to the flu.
Now imagine, they've got team doctors and stuff that can pump you full of fluids and all that and get you to the point where you can actually stand up and go out onto the field, but you're going to be a long way from your best. So, the Texans had an easy, well, not that easy of a time because the Patriots got to within 7 and an onside kick of making it interesting. But when a team is that sick, come on. Even the Patriots, even Bill Belichick can't fight that. I mean, even his dark powers can't cure them of the flu. And I even tweeted at Bill Simmons. He was like, the team's blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, half your team was down with the flu. That's why they played poorly. It's that simple.
I mean, he can't cure them yet, but,
not yet.
Once he masters control of the midichlorians, then he'll.
Right. What was the Darth and one of the
Darth Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis. Yeah. Once he figures out how to create life, then he'll be okay. But to me, it's just that it was a team that was sick. I mean, it was so bad they flew half the team down there on the same plane so they wouldn't spread it to the other half of the team. Which I don't know how you avoid that when you're all in the same locker room together and stuff. But okay.
Well, I suppose it's minimizing risk.
Yeah, I mean, an airplane's basically a flying petri dish anyway. So yeah. But that's my thing with the Patriots. I'm not too worried about last night. I think that was just one of those things.
Julian Edelman did very well for my fantasy team. So,
my fantasy team, I didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. I got to be honest, I didn't try that hard. And damn if we didn't win it, I'm in the playoffs now. I was like, well, this is over. Nope, not yet. Anyway, to get back to your original question, Zach, I think that the Patriots are probably still the favorite, but there is a road now to where they might not get there, but I'll believe it when I see it.
It's all going to come down to. I think it's all really going to come down to whether or not the Patriots can adjust for Lamar Jackson, and then of course it's going to depend on whether or not Lamar Jackson can adjust to the Patriots, which seems obvious, but we're in week 13. Of this season, and teams are still having trouble with Lamar Jackson. So it's not entirely outside the realm of possibility that, some teams just can't figure him out. Bill Belichick, I would say, is a coach who probably should be able to figure him out. Because again, if the people who run the Chargers can do it, then certainly he can.
You would think, right?
Yeah. But we'll see.
Anyway, moving on. Titans are, like I said, tied for the last playoff spot with the Steelers.
Look at my Tennessee Titans.
What happened to the Colts? Jesus.
A lot of injuries, to be fair.
Yeah, injuries.
But can I just say that I really love how excited Mike Vrabel looks. When,
former Ohio State Buckeye Mike Vrabel, by the way.
How excited and happy he looks whenever the Titans do well. He legitimately looks like he's shocked that they've done a good thing.
Him and everybody else.
He just kind of looks like your hapless uncle who's just I don't know. There's something endearing about him.
I think he might be one of the Belichick coaching tree guys that might actually turn out to be pretty good, which is really kind of rare.
Better than Patricia.
Oh, geez. Well, we knew that guy was going to be bad from the start.
I mean, the Titans are in the hunt.
I think, yeah, they're going to be a tough out if they get, they've got a shot. Let's put it that way. Zach, do you know what their record is with Ryan Tannehill since he took over? I think they've only had one loss, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Tannehill? Really?
It's 5-1.
5-1 with Tannehill.
What does that say about Marcus Mariota?
That was a bad pick from the start. I never liked that pick to begin with. I mean,
what does it say about Marcus Mariota? I'd say, what does that say about the Miami Dolphins? Ryan Tannehill,
yes.
Was he secretly the next Tom Brady all along, and the Dolphins just squandered all of his potential?
Well, he's been more game manager than put up gaudy stats, but they're winning with him is the point, I suppose.
Yeah.
But the Titans, they're my irrational confidence Titans, even though I switched it to the Bills. But I think I'm going to switch it back now. I think after hearing the Buffalo's final schedule, I'm going back on the Titans bandwagon. Sorry, Cosmic. Got to do it.
Oh no.
You guys know I can't quit my Titans ever. I try, I just can't do it. They're like the siren song.
You realize what's going to happen is now the Titans are going to lose like 2 in a row, and the Bills are going to.
Yeah, you know what? I'm putting my irrational confidence in the Chicago Bears. There you go. No, better yet, no. I'm putting all my irrational confidence on the Minnesota Vikings. There we are.
Oh, no.
My irrational confidence in Minnesota Vikings, yes.
Can we talk about the Vikings here? Because I think that's really there's only 2 things left that I want to say about. So the Rams look like they should have looked all season at eviscerating the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So they're 7-5. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins is 0-8 on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
And they lose in Seattle, so they're now 8-4. The Rams are still alive if Minnesota can continue to fail.
Well, I've been telling you guys all year the Vikings are not good outdoors, and they're not good on the road. They're not good outdoors. Now they played well last night,
and they're not good against teams with with above 500 records.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised they played as well as they did last night. I don't know what to make of these Seattle Seahawks, but I did notice
it's all Russell Wilson, man.
Because they talked about it. I mean, Mike, they're basically what happened with your Chargers last year. They're winning all the close games. And
I
don't know
how that worked last year for me.
Well, but I'm just saying that, like, so I think they're pretty good, but I don't know that they're 10-2 good, But the Rams, the Rams are back in the hunt, Zach. I mean, all of a sudden.
Well, here's the way the schedule breaks down, and it's not favorable for the Rams. They host Seattle on Sunday night this week.
They can win that.
At Dallas.
They should win that.
At San Francisco.
That's going to be tough.
And then home against the Cardinals.
They could take 3 of those.
We saw what happened to the Cardinals.
Right. But so I think the Rams are going to have to go at least 3-1 down the stretch.
Yeah.
At least. And that would mean that the Vikings would need to lose 2 between the home against the Lions, at the Chargers, and then home against the Packers and Bears.
Packers are terrible on the road against Minnesota.
Yeah, I think
that's why I was so glad to see them lose last night, because it gives the Packers a little room to breathe now.
The Chargers, I don't know, we'll try to do you a solid, I guess. What else is there to fight for?
It's not going to happen. It's going to be a Vikings home game. Like, you know that.
And dude, I just on the Chargers real quick. My God. Every time
the last team I was going to bring up before we finished. Yeah.
All right. We'll finish this up, then we'll get to the Chargers. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know if the Rams can afford to drop any of those games.
No.
I think they need to win out.
Winning out
needs to lose to the Packers.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. One of these teams that's like looking on the outside, looking in right now is going to get in. I don't know which one it's going to be, but it always happens. Somebody screws up and falls apart at this point in the season. Also, a playoff contending team is going to go out and lose a stupid game. I thought it would be the Buffalo Bills, but so far it hasn't been them. But somebody's going to lose a dumb game. It might be the Ravens. It might be the Vikings. It might be, the Packers. It could be the 49ers. But somebody's going to do something stupid before this is done. Your hope is that it's got to be out of the NFC West. It's got to be the Seahawks or the 49ers screw up bad, or the NFC wildcard teams, I should say.
Yeah,
and I think
here's how it sits right now, because basically the NFC East is its own animal. Even the Cowboys are 6-6, but they don't get to be involved in this. And then you have the Niners. Either the Niners or Seahawks will get that wild card game,
right?
The top wild card at 10-2, because they have a 2-game lead over Minnesota. So Minnesota's the last wild card team. Then you have the Rams, so they're at 8-4. The Rams are a game behind at 7-5, and the Bears are 2 games behind at 6-6.
The Bears are not going to play a role in this unless they can beat somebody, which I think they play. Don't they have a game against somebody important coming up?
I know. Well, they play Minnesota in week 17. And
no,
who do they, what's the Bears' schedule like? The Bears they're home for the Cowboys, at the Packers, home for the Chiefs, and then at the Vikings.
Yeah, the only favor they can do is they can beat the Cowboys, so we can keep our 6-10 dream alive. But one of the contending teams will trip over its own feet. It happens every year. Yeah. And it's always one of the teams on the outside looking, and all of a sudden on the last week, it's like all they got to do is win, and they're in.
Yeah. And so I think the only team that has that shot in the NFC is the Rams.
Yeah.
And then in the AFC, it's a little tighter because you have Buffalo at 9-3, Pittsburgh's 7-5, Tennessee is 7-5, and then the Oakland Raiders.
Aren't the Bills locked into the 5th seed right now?
The Bills are currently the 5th seed.
Yeah, I think if they win one more game, they're home free.
Yeah, because they have a 2-game lead over Pittsburgh for the final spot, and Pittsburgh again is Tennessee.
Yeah.
So not totally locked in, but
my Chargers are still in the hunt.
Really?
Well, technically they are still alive, yes. But
dude, your Chargers shouldn't be hunting anything because it's going to accidentally shoot themselves. It's as simple as that. I thought the Browns found creative ways to lose until as soon as I don't even know what the quarterback's name was for Denver. As soon as he dropped back to pass, like they're going to be interference. There's going to be interference on this call. And sure enough, there was.
Yeah.
Right?
You kick a field goal. They had no timeouts. 20 seconds left, and you still lose. That's just heartbreaking to me. It's like, oh my god. I don't even know what to say.
I mean, I'm mad at Denver because this NFC race would be a little bit tighter had they not blown a 20-0 halftime lead against the stupid Vikings.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I to go back to the Vikings and Seahawks, I'm not sure how good either one of these teams really is. The Seahawks are getting, they're getting all the wins in very tight games, and you look up any advanced metric in football, and you have to be able to do that, but it's kind of unsustainable.
Yeah. Well, I was actually listening. I turned on talk radio for just a second because I was listening to the Ducks post-game show on the way home last night. So when I turned my car on this morning, the Rich Eisen show was on. Mm-hmm. And he pointed out something that I thought was kind of interesting. So the Chargers are 4-8, right? Bottom of the AFC West, swept by the Broncos. They only have a -3, or is it a +3 point differential?
Yeah.
Where's the actual?
They've lost. That's what I mean, though. Like they're the anti-Seahawks.
Right. The Chargers have a +3 point differential despite being 4-8.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks are 10-2, and they only have a +36 point differential.
Right. They said in the game last night.
Eisen said it's the lowest point differential for any 10-win team in NFL history.
Yeah, they said in the game last night that their average margin of victory is 5 points. Which look, that's great. The thing is, however they're doing it, they're winning the games, and that's the important thing. But when I thought they'd have an easy time. For a while, it looked like, okay, this is the Seahawks, these are the Vikings on the road, and that's it. Because the Seahawks jumped up to a 31-17 lead, and you're like, okay, that's it. And then the Vikings just came storming right back. And I don't think either one of these teams is quite as good. I'm not saying they're not good. They're both good teams, but they're not quite as good as their records would make you believe they are, is what I'm saying. I don't think the Vikings are really 8-3 or 8-4 good, and I don't think the Seahawks are 10-2 good. I'd put the Vikings more down at what are they, 8-4? Like 7-5, 6-6, and the Seahawks are at the 8-4 level. But here we are. And watching them play each other, you can't get a real good feel for it because they're both the same team, essentially. They're probably winning games they shouldn't, but I mean the Browns jumped out to like a 20-point lead on the Seahawks in Cleveland. Not that means anything, but it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the Chargers, it's just bad luck, man. I mean, and they've I don't know. That losing bad late culture, I think it starts to become a thing. And,
totally.
Yeah. And
you're always just waiting.
You're just waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the last bit, because it just happened today, with a loss of the Redskins, that is the last game for Ron Rivera in Carolina.
Really?
He's fired today. Yes.
Wow. Well, they didn't wait around for that, did they? They name who's taking his place?
Perry Fuel is the interim guy.
Okay. Well,
I've heard of him before. I can't remember where he has been, but I've heard
he should enjoy his time in the spotlight because it's probably going to be short.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of firings this year, and I hope Freddie Kitchens is the first one. I really do.
Well, he can't be the first one.
Or the first one after the season ends, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Not the first one overall. Ron Rivera, huh? Who had him in the first coach to get fired? Well, he wasn't the first coach to get fired this year, was he?
No, that was Jay Gruden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. The National Football League, it's getting interesting.
Now the video on NFL.com that I'm watching has just switched to highlights from the Chargers-Broncos game.
Mike, all I can tell you is welcome to life as a Cleveland Browns fan. It's the best I can do you, man. All right.
I that's where I remember Perry Fuel's name. He was once this is his second time as an interim head coach.
Oh.
He was the interim head coach for the Buffalo Bills in 2009.
Well, yeah, you know what they say, though. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
And he was only the Panthers' defensive backs coach. That's weird that one of the coordinators didn't become interim.
Freddie Kitchens was the guy that was sleeping in the hallways. They gave him the head coaching job. Come on.
What did he say in that interview?
I have pictures of you having sex with animals. That's what he said. All right, folks, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in and putting up with us over the holiday break. Cleveland rocks.
Wait, before we go, I can't. This happened over the break, and this is important.
Okay,
Mike Babcock.
Oh yeah, how'd we miss that?
Okay, so
tell me your thoughts on Mike Babcock.
So Mike Babcock. So the Leafs had a 6-game losing skid, and they fired Babcock.
Wow.
Now, one might say, coach of his caliber, that might have been too hasty, but at least the Leafs didn't wait for it to get to 7, right, Zach? But I guess the point is that I was really not sure of it at first because the Leafs' problems it didn't seem like they were coaching. Simply put, the defense has just not been that great. And I was of the opinion that it's like, hey, that's probably a bigger problem than the coaching situation, and I thought it was hasty to let a coach of, again, his caliber go. But the more that came out about it, apparently the players hated him. Have you guys heard what he did to Mitch Marner?
Yeah, that's incredible.
No, what?
So when Babcock first came on as the coach, keep in mind, Mitch Marner looks like he's 12 years old. So that just makes it extra sad. He went to Mitch Marner and he's like, hey, give me a list of I think it was the top 10 players on this team and the bottom 10 players of who you think tries the hardest versus who you think slacking.
It's not his job to do that.
Well, Mitch Marner being a rookie, rookie in the NHL, coach tells you to do something. He did it.
A coach of Mike Babcock's stature as well.
Yeah. And then Babcock went to the players he said were slacking. It's like, hey, this is what Mitch Marner said. Yeah.
No, and then didn't because I think the guy he put at the bottom of the list was Kadri.
Yeah.
And I think the story went that he brought Kadri and Marner into the office and said, hey, Kadri, Mitch thinks you don't work too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
all right.
and then Kadri and I think it was Tyler Bozak then went to Mike Babcock and said they weren't like mad at Mitch Marner. They went to Babcock and were like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a coach of the stature that Mike Babcock has. What the hell is he doing going to a rookie and saying, "Evaluate the team for me"? That's like Brian Burke level shit, man. What the fuck is that all about?
There's that, and then there's stories of I guess Johan Franzen was saying that his time in Detroit, he was the most terrible human being that he ever coached for. He was scared, like going to practice every day. And then to break off from that too, one of Babcock's coaching tree disciples, Bill Peters, got fired from the Flames because of stuff that came out when he was a minor league coach.
Yeah, I saw that.
He said, a black player, Akeem Alou, it was said that he went into the locker room when Akeem Alou was playing some rap music and said, "Turn that N-word shit off. We don't play that N-word music in my locker room."
Now,
and then players from Carolina were also like, "Yeah, he might have done that, but also while I was on the bench and I did something bad, he kicked me in the back twice." And other players were like, "Yeah, no, he hit me too."
Okay, so it wasn't just something he said 10 years ago. It's a pattern of behavior.
Dude's just an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I mean,
and now, based on all that, Mark Crawford is another coach that is being accused of, having abusive tendencies while coaching. That's being reviewed currently.
That kind of coaching does not fly in this day and age. It just doesn't. It might have worked 50 years ago or 30, but it does not work now.
No, and hockey is very much an old, the old boys.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, that is fun. That's been a fundamental problem in hockey culture, is that it is a very old boys club situation, and it's probably for the best that teams are that some of the shit's getting exposed, because it's got to change. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you justify all that kind of stuff. And to show you what the result has been since Babcock was fired by the Leafs, they've turned it around and they've been on something of a winning streak. So,
well, that's the thing though. When you've got a clubhouse that everybody's like scared and unhappy in, I don't care how good you are. I mean, everybody says, "Oh, team chemistry is overrated." I'm not talking about chemistry. They don't have to love each other, but they've all got to be wanting to play, wanting to be there. They've all got to want to be there. They can't just show up and go, "This is fucking misery," because he's an asshole. Sometimes that works out, like in, with Herb Brooks and the 80 Olympic team. They all united against him, and they were, what's his name? The assistant coach. I can't think of his name now. But, like, he was their guy. But, it just, professional hockey is a different animal than a bunch of 20-year-old college kids. And that culture just doesn't fly. Mm-hmm. And if the team doesn't want to be there and everybody's mad, and I will lose all respect for any coach, especially a coach like Mike Babcock, to come in and ask a rookie to evaluate the team. I'd be like, what is this guy doing? And how does this rookie know anything? That's my second thought. But yeah. So we'll see, Mike. You never know. This might be the ticket. Stranger things have happened.
I mean, yeah. Who the hell? I don't know. The more that came out about, like, I will admit, at first, my first reaction was like, what the hell are you doing? This, what's going on? But then the more that came out about it, the more that it made sense, and then obviously the team started, winning, and it was obvious that this is something that they needed. So,
okay, folks. On that note, we're really going to wrap it up this time. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Later.
Adios.